So, we're going to dive into this ancient letter written almost 2,000 years ago. But honestly, its message feels like it could have been written yesterday. It's basically a survival guide for anyone who feels like an outsider, a roadmap for getting through a world that feels kind of hostile. And it's all built around this one really radical idea: how to find hope and even joy right in the middle of suffering. I mean, that sounds completely backwards, doesn't it? Maybe even a little crazy. Why on earth would anyone be told to rejoice when things are tough, when you're being treated unfairly? That's the core question at the heart of the first epistle of Peter, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack. Okay, so to really get this radical idea, we have to start with who this letter was actually for. The answer is right there in the opening line, and it totally sets the stage for everything else. Right from the jump, the author calls his audience strangers scattered, and those two words are so important. This isn't just about geography, it's a really deep statement about their social and emotional reality. They were minorities, living like foreigners, feeling totally isolated, displaced, and just like they didn't belong. And look, this feeling of being an outsider wasn't just in their heads. They were dealing with real social pressure, real hostility, all because their beliefs and their way of life were different. The letter describes their situation as being in heaviness through manifold temptations. And that phrase just perfectly nails that feeling of being weighed down by all kinds of trials and difficulties. So, what do you say to people in that kind of situation? Well, the letter's answer isn't just a simple hang in there. Instead, it offers this powerful reframing of their entire world, and it all kicks ass with a very, very specific kind of hope. This is where we get this incredible idea of a lively hope. And this isn't just wishful thinking, or some vague optimism. It's described as this living, breathing, dynamic confidence that's actively powered by something that already happened, the resurrection of Jesus. It's a hope that's standing on solid ground. And this is where that hope is pointed. The letter draws this stark contrast between their reality now, this heaviness, and a future promise. It talks about an inheritance incorruptible, reserved in heaven for you. The whole point is this: their present suffering is temporary, but their future hope, that's permanent. It's secure. It's waiting for them. And this brings us right back to that first big question: why rejoice? Well, because the letter completely reframes what suffering is. It's not a punishment, it's a refining process. Just like fire tests and purifies gold, their trials are actually proving the genuineness of their faith, making it even more precious than of gold. Their hardship actually has a purpose. But here's the thing: this hope isn't just a passive feeling. It's supposed to be fuel for action. It's meant to shape a whole new way of living right here and now, and the letter provides a super practical blueprint for how to do that, especially as an outsider. Before you can act differently, you've got to see yourself differently, and that's the very first thing the letter does. It takes their old identity as scattered strangers and just completely replaces it with something way more powerful and permanent. And just listen to these new titles. They go from being scattered strangers to a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. They're even called lively stones, all being built together into something new and sacred. This is a complete reversal of their status. They're no longer marginalized outsiders. They're treasured insiders in a brand new spiritual community. So this new identity then shapes their everyday actions with a really clear set of instructions. First, be holy, which means set apart in your conduct. Then, submit to the governing authorities. Inside your own community, love each other like crazy. And this is so important: when you do suffer for doing good, you're actually following this specific example that Christ left. And there's a really practical, almost strategic purpose behind living this way. It isn't just about being good for the sake of being good. The letter says that their consistent good conduct can literally put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. Their lives become this quiet but powerful testimony that completely challenges the prejudices people have against them. All right, so they've got this living hope, a new identity, and a blueprint for how to live. But what's the end game? Where does all of this lead? What's the final promise for people who have to endure this life as strangers? The letter just keeps circling back to this central theme. Their suffering isn't random. It has meaning because it connects them directly to the story of Jesus. He's the pioneer, the one who went through unjust suffering first, leaving an example for them to follow, right in his footsteps. And the ultimate promise isn't an escape from all the difficulty in this life. It's about what comes after. It's a promise of vindication, of being proven right. The letter says that after they have suffered a while, they're going to receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. It's a declaration that, in the end, their faithfulness will be honored. In a world where everything felt so temporary and threatening, human reputation, their own suffering, life itself, the letter grounds them in one single unshakable truth. It says, "All flesh is as grass. The grass withereth, and the flower thereof falleth away. But the word of the Lord endureth forever." That's the solid rock they can stand on. And so, this ancient survival guide for outsiders leaves us with a question that is every bit as relevant today as it was then. In a world where so much is constantly shifting, uncertain, and temporary, it challenges each of us to ask, what is the source of our enduring hope?